life was always very easy for me. And honestly, until I had kids, I'm obviously never going to say that having kids ruins your life, because it doesn't. It actually improves it. But it makes life more challenging. It makes it more beautiful, but it makes it harder. You lose a lot of your free time, you lose a lot of your hobbies, you lose a lot of your friends, you lose a lot of the things that you love doing, that gives you that decompressing, that relaxing. And then you start to become weaker. It doesn't happen to everyone, but I do see a trend from the people that I see and the people that I know and strangers, and that happened to me. That as soon as I had kids, I started having kids, then all a lot of aspects in my life started to go like that. They started to decrease. They started to plunk down like a graph. Everything started going down, and not just one thing, but many. I actually started to put on weight. I think it happened gradually, but the combination of not doing any exercise, any physical activity, any sport, the combination of not going out with the boys anymore and decompress and talk about the week and have fun and have a laugh, plus a big hecticness at home with the kids, where actually chaotic becomes your normal. You have a newborn, and then you have all these extra responsibilities and more expenses, and then at the same time you're also aging, and you're not fueling your body with exercise and good nutrition. So while I was continuing with this same lifestyle, drinking alcohol to almost like escape for a little bit from my reality, but then this was like a never-ending cycle of negativity, because I was drinking alcohol like never in an extreme, but just consistently. Couple of drinks here, a couple of beers here, a couple of drinks here to decompress. But that was affecting me negatively, because obviously, alcohol doesn't give you anything positive to your health and your mindset. It relaxes you for a couple of hours, and then the next morning you feel more tired. Potentially, if you're a little bit hangover, you're even more tired. You eat more junk food, you feel more sluggish. It sucks a lot of the energy, dehydrates you. It has sugar, it makes you put on weight. It's just that cycle of things that start to become more and more harder. And then as soon as I started hitting my mid 30s, probably when I was around 34, 35, and having a 4 or 5 year old, I actually started feeling my body to start giving me red flags, and in many ways starting to fail. I started to get a consistent pain in my shoulder, in my shoulder blade, muscular pain. I never had that before. And I was like, well, what is this pain? Like, I think I pulled my shoulder. And I started to get a remedial massage that would fix the issue. And then 2 or 3 weeks later, it will reoccur. And it was just almost like a consistent issue that I had there. Then I also actually started to have some soreness or a little bit of pain, discomfort in near my knees, both of them, the muscles that are like inside of the knee. I don't know how you call them, but I started to get some soreness there. So a few things started happening, and I was like, what's going on with my body? Obviously, at that time, just being ignorant, I think like, oh, it's just this. There must be something that's going on. What's going on? I don't know. I was very confused. So that's where you like make the decision. You like, should I go to the doctor, get checked? What's going on? So also, like in my feet, I was feeling like if I did like a walk or a little bit of exercise, something, soreness in the feet. So I remember thinking like, what's going on here? I actually went to a doctor. I started mentioning some of the, pain in the feet when I was doing exercise, the muscle and everything. The doctor was like, oh, well, go get some x-rays in your feet. We want to rule out like arthritis or something. And I remember when he said the word arthritis, and I just mind blown that was even mentioned in the doctor's office when, I feel like a strong and healthy 34-year-old. But then hearing that word, I walked out of that doctor's office and I thought, I'm not going to get an x-ray on my feet to rule out arthritis. I came home, I put that referral to the x-ray on my feet, and I put it in a cabinet, and I said, I'm not going to get an x-ray on my feet to rule out arthritis. And I remember that night I said, I'm going to dust out my dumbbells that I have in the garage, and I'm gonna start doing some exercise. I'm gonna do some real basic exercises, just like full body, all of the muscles, very gentle, very small, very smooth, and just begin to exercise all of my bodies, all my muscles again, and see what happens. I started to doing some light back exercises, shoulder exercises, biceps, legs. I started doing walking, and honestly, you will not believe it, but just within a matter of weeks, not months, weeks, all of my soreness and pains, my shoulder pulled muscle that I had for almost a year, the soreness on my muscles, pain in my feet, everything vanished. And that's when I had this big wake up call of, wow, my body is aging, but I'm not strengthening it. And after you go on, after 30 years old, mid 30s, that's when you will start to become to feel it. And because I was heavier at that point, I think I put on like maybe approximately 10 kilos. I was like, I think past 90 kilos, 92 kilos. And I used to be always like around 80, 82. So I was like about 90, 92. I realized that this is me, this is my fault, this is me, this is my body, and it's giving me the red flags, and now I need to do something about it. So I started to consistently exercise like that, just a little bit here and there, a couple of times a week and everything, and the soreness and the pains in the muscles, everything vanished. It also happened to me at that time that I actually used to be size 32 in my pants when I was 25. And then as the years passed, even before I had kids, I got married, so I started to be less active. And, believe it or not, when you get married, you don't really have the need to be like, oh, I'm gonna do exercise because I wanna look great, because I want to, when I go to the beach with friends, and if I'm single, honestly, you stop caring because you're like, well, I'm married, I don't need to do that, I don't need to go to the gym. So it's that mindset that changes, that you don't need to exercise your body because now you've got the person you love and you're married, so you're locked in, so you don't need to prove to anyone, so you don't need to look good because your spouse or your husband or wife is gonna stay with you, right? So I remember changing my size to 34, And I then remember a few years later, after I had my first child, a few years after that, I changed my size to 36. And then approximately around that time where I started doing a little bit of exercise, I went to the shop and I needed a new pair of pants, and I went to grab the 36 and it was so tight it did not fit. So I went to grab the 38 pants, and I remember taking it into the change room and I looked at that number, 38. I will never forget that time, just me and the pants looking at them. And I said to myself there, I'm not going to buy a size 38 pants. This is not me. And I went out and I put the pants back in the shelf and I left and I went home. And I said, from now on, and this is, so right now is 2026. This was approximately 3 years ago. I'm just trying to remember days, but this was approximately 3 years ago. Maybe 2.5 years ago. And I remember saying, I came home and I said, I am going to lose weight, and I'm going to exercise, and I'm going to change my lifestyle and my habits. So for the next 3 months, I decided to stop drinking alcohol, eating super healthy, no takeaway, no fried food, completely changed my eating habits, drinking water, and exercise was only small, as in I was doing only a little bit. But that change of lifestyle, after the 3 months, I lost 10 kilos. I lost even almost more than I wanted. I think I was like around 76 kilos at one point, almost looking too skinny in the face, and I just went too extreme. So then I gradually started to put on a little bit more weight by eating more protein and doing more exercise. Then at the time, I had my own business doing photography and video, and I was so invested for the next pretty much 2 years. So, because that was like 3 years ago. So for the next 2 years, I was fully invested in my business. I was doing a little bit of exercise, not much, just enough almost to not get the pains back. I decided to completely stop drinking alcohol because that felt great. As in, I felt like if I'm not doing exercise and I'm not being super healthy in that area of physical activity, if I don't drink alcohol and I eat healthy and I just work with my business, then that's how I'm going to do it. Not in any way was balanced, because I was like zero exercise, working a lot of my business, working a lot of weekends, 12-hour days. If you have your own business, you will understand this a lot. So then it ended up being this cycle of no exercise, work, eating healthy, no alcohol. And I did that for approximately 2 years. And I always in my mind wanted to do exercise, but I always did a little bit and committed for like a week, and then I stopped. Back in about a year ago, so early 2025, I decided to take a full-time job doing video and photography, and pretty much reducing or almost completely stopping my own business, and just changing that lifestyle of work and no exercise to now working more of a 9 to 5 Monday to Friday type of job. So that's when things really changed for me, because I started to have more time, because I didn't need to wake up at 3 a.m. to edit a project that I wanted to quickly send to my clients so they will pay the bill and then start a next one. I didn't have that need, so I started to not wake up early. got to bed really late because I could. I didn't have anything that I was really working on projects or anything, and I was doing my commitments at my new job at the start. So I started doing this lifestyle of going to bed super late, scrolling on my phone for hours, sleeping not many hours because I was going to bed really late, waking up really early. At that point, I had my second child, and she was like maybe about 3 months old. So I almost felt in a way that I had no purpose personally. And I thought to myself, what am I doing? I knew that I was destroying myself in many ways. And I kept going. And I went through, over the last 2 years, I went through little bursts where I did a bit of exercise and I stopped. I remember at one point I was like, I'm gonna start running. And I went and I started running like crazy for like 2 weeks, and I hurt my legs and I had to stop for a while because I realized later that that's not how you start running. You have to build to it, especially with a body that's 35, 36-year old and you haven't done any exercise or any running or any sprinting or any sport for 10, 15 years. Something's gonna break in that rusty old car, right? So I started to think, well, what am I going to do now? I was in a very, very bad place mentally. Just the pressure of having 2 kids now, which is a lot, not having my own business that I was working out, still doing that zero exercise, and then becoming this really bad habit, almost like a phone addiction at night, just scrolling. And if you are that person right now, you understand, or you've been in that place, just scrolling, mindless stuff, absolutely mindless. Used to go sometimes, oh, I need to go to the toilet, and you sit there and you feel like you're decompressing, and you sit there for like 30 or 45 minutes, and it's like, yeah, that's my time away from like the hecticness of the home. But then you feel terrible after you do that as well. You don't feel relaxed, you don't feel like you're decompressed at all. If anything, you feel worse, and then you feel more need to keep on scrolling. And the way that they do the algorithms on social media and stuff, it really hooks you because it shows you things that are your interest, and it really messes with that addiction part. So where do I go from here? I already knew of David Goggins, Tony Robbins, and I've read a lot of motivational style authors, books. I've gone to seminars, so I already had a lot of these foundations within me, but I've never really fully applied any of it. I read a book and I feel great, and I do it for, like, I do the action things that they give you for a little bit. I write goals and everything, but then I went and I slow back down, and I'm like, feel like almost worse than before. And it makes you feel worse than before because you feel like, oh, I know what I should be doing, and I did it for a little bit, and then I'm not doing it because you feel like you're not capable of, or you're not designed for that type of thing. So you feel almost weaker, actually. It's like you feel weaker after you tried and you didn't achieve it than when you didn't try at all before. And it's like, that's who I am. And then, but now you feel like, oh, I know what I could become, but I did it and I'm not good enough or strong enough to continue doing it. So now I'm like, it makes you feel worse because you feel like you could get somewhere, you could become that strong person. You almost had a little glimpse of who you could be or who you really are, and it's never been discovered. But now you're back to being that person. So it's a fight in your mind every day. Starting to work on my new job, and then massive event happened in my life. I lost my mom. My mom passed unexpectedly at 69 years old. It's been one of the hardest thing, if not the hardest thing that's ever happened in my life. I didn't know how to accept it or how to deal with it. I was only 37 old. I always thought that I would have my mom for many years. At that age, I didn't think that was gonna happen, and it was super, like, extremely hard. If there is people watching here that have lost their parents or a loved one, specifically one of their parents at a relatively younger age, it's just something that you cannot even describe. It's not even pain what you feel. It's confusion. It's just like you remember things. You remember all the times that you had good times. You remember all the times that you had fights, all the disagreements, and it's very tough. And I struggled a lot with it. I struggled a lot. I thought maybe I need to get some therapy because it's just so bad, like just the mental aspect. And then at the same time, nothing else stops in your life, like the hecticness, the kids, work, just your marriage, your home, maintenance of your home, everything just keeps running. So there's never really time for you or for me to decompress and deal with this. So I thought maybe I need to go to therapy, but then I'm like, I don't have time, and then it's just, it costs money, and just very bad situation. And I started to get in a really bad place mentally. I did not how to deal with things, and I didn't know what was my next steps, and I didn't know what to do. Then I actually started doing something that was going to help me with dealing with the loss of my mom, but without really realizing that I was doing something that was going to help me. I actually started driving to work every day, and that was actually some of the most painful moments, because it's just a time that I was there on my own, just with my own thoughts, and all I could think of was my mom and my mom and my mom. And just dealing with that situation was really tough. So I started reading or listening to audiobooks in that time where I was driving, and it was helping me to get my mind off things. And I already read in a physical book the second book of David Goggins, Never Finished. It was a great book. I loved it. I applied a little bit of it by doing exercise, but I quit and I stopped after a while. And I thought, well, I'm gonna read his first book, Can't Hurt Me, and I loved it. And it really gave me some really amazing insight of the power of the mind, and the places that you can push yourself, push your body, push your mind to go to some crazy levels. Then I listened to Never Finished. So I read that as a physical book, and then I heard it as an audiobook. Actually, I'm still close to finishing it. I haven't finished it. But these audiobooks honestly just gave me some amazing tools to push myself and to just really understand that you can go to some crazy places in a good way if you set your mind to it. Now, a few people that met me and they know that I really love David Goggins, they say, oh, do you want to be like David Goggins? And I don't even follow up with the conversation, because honestly, in my mind, I know that I don't want to be like David Goggins. David Goggins is David Goggins, and I love many things about him. Some of the things that he has said, I disagree with, but really it doesn't matter. It's just like many authors and many books. I love a lot of things about many books. There are some things that I disagree, and I just take whatever I want from those authors and those books and I apply it to me. I just want to be me and become me. But one of the things that he mentions, and one of his biggest philosophies, is to push hard and work hard every day with exercise, because that calluses your mind. It strengthens your mind so much for dealing with life. So halfway through the book, I decided I'm just going to start doing exercise again, because I know how much that helps me mentally, and it always puts me in an amazing spot mentally. And I've always done it but just for a little bit. I always have these like little projects that I start and I always quit. I've done many projects. I've got like 6 YouTube channels and 4 social media accounts and just so many projects that I say I'm gonna start, and I start and I get so motivated and then I stop. Sometimes after a month, sometimes after 2 months, but I always stop. I never follow through with anything. And I thought, this is the perfect opportunity to start exercising and just really push myself. With a busy lifestyle, full-time job, I sometimes work on the weekends still for my own business. I've got my families, 2 young kids, I'm married, I've got a house to maintain. Come on guys, like, is there really any time? That is the biggest challenge, the time. So I thought I'm gonna start pushing myself. So one day I just went out for a run. I thought I'm gonna start doing some content as well, because I'm really passionate about all this motivational content and drive and authors, and I've learned so much. I've read so many books. It's been like 3 years, guys, that I've been like listening to audiobooks, motivational audios, motivational music, like I said, seminars, like you name it. I've done so many things. I've known so many authors. I've got so many different tools for so many different people from so many different perspectives. Now it's time to freaking apply it. And I remember going on for a run, and I'm not even a good runner or anything, don't you think? But I went for a run, I started doing some content. I've got the social media accounts, which one of these is this one for my own personal brand, Danny Rodas, where I want to do this and grow this brand so I can help people. But I thought, how can I help people if I haven't done it myself? I want to apply all this knowledge to help people, but I need to apply it on myself first. So suddenly I did this video where I said day 1 of becoming a beast, and I said something and I posted that, and then I thought to myself, oh shit, now I have to do it like day 2 and keep going. And I kept going, and now I'm up to day 40, and you know, it was actually the best thing that I could have ever done, because it's giving me that extra purpose of doing something every day. And I started with only doing little workouts, little things, and actually by day 40 now I'm so committed. I do workouts a day. I wake up super early at like 2:30, 3 a.m. to do a workout, and then at lunchtime I do another workout, and every opportunity that I have, I'm working out. I want to prove myself that it is possible as a dad and as a busy parent, husband, and man that works, that has a house, that has no free time, that there is time to exercise and to push yourself and to grow. Honestly, the past 40 days have been the best that I've ever felt in my life. I feel like I am getting a great physical condition. Best is the most fit that I've been in my whole life. One of the biggest differences on my whole life is in that aspect of losing my mom. This has helped me deal with the loss of my mom better than anything, because there is something there that I'm growing every day. I feel like I'm progressing, I'm growing, I'm having that progress in my life personally, because everything else still goes on. I still got my kids, and I still got my wife, and everything else is still there always. But now I've got this extra thing that is working on me, working on my body. I'm strengthening my body, but I'm strengthening my mind. That's the most important thing. I feel fantastic, I feel great, and I really love sharing that everyday transformation content. This concept of becoming a beast is, someone asks me sometimes in the comments, oh, what do you mean by becoming a beast? Becoming a beast is a concept of becoming mentally tough and work hard every day to become stronger mentally, callous in your mind. So when there is tough situations, I've had recently a very tough situation, which was losing my mom, and I felt like going down. I wasn't strong, and now I feel a lot stronger. I'm not saying it gets any easier dealing with the loss of your mom, but it has helped me. It has made the world of a difference. I've got more energy. I can play more with my kids, be more active. I'm not tired of it all the time. I've got something that I can look forward to. So even if I have a bad day at work, I've got that one project that I'm working on which is the biggest thing. It is me, it's my body, it's me, it's the biggest investment. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.